back east, that might be a once-in-a-lifetime chance. But we definitely want to expand our West Coast regional racing, and then who knows beyond that. We're starting to generate a lot of great contacts with guys in California, Washington, all these places where we're selling cars and we're doing providing services. So to go race with those guys and get their input, bounce stuff off them, that'll help us when we go regionally. But it all comes down to finances, and I want to get the car working right before we go try to do something like that. I don't see it making sense to go spend a bunch of money traveling if your car's not ready, and if it's not worth the loss to do that. So get our stuff together, get it running fast, and then we'll see what we can do.
The traveling aspect, we kind of talked about that a little bit off air. The Budweiser Nationals, kind of something you've got your sights set on, a race that you really want to make, and we're hoping to see you down there. Josh and I'll be down there this year calling that show. And, we were talking about the late models and why you went with the modifieds, and it's all about money. And these cars, very affordable class to run for the level of competition and the level of race car these are. It's a real true race car. That being said, we've seen a lot of guys spend the first 5-6 years of their career in the modifieds, jump into the late models, and find a lot of success pretty quick because of the way you have to drive these cars. High horsepower on the small tires. Go ahead and kind of give us what Matthew Drager's feeling in the race car and kind of your routine when you get to the track and get in that car and get yourself mentally prepared to drive these modifieds on those little tires with those big engines.
Yeah, the biggest thing with that is focusing on your driving style. So when we get a track like that, hammer down track where we set the track record, you can really be aggressive with the car. You don't have to be as smooth with your inputs, both in the pedals and the wheel. You can, throw the car around a little bit. Man, come feature time, you got to be focused on being smooth, go slow to go fast. As backwards as it sounds, that's what it is on the slick. Driving with an egg under both feet, and you're working all feet and hands together. You can't ignore one and do the other. You got to be smooth. Your brain, you got to be in it mentally, and if you do that and you get lucky, you'll get a win.
So you talk about mental aspect about driving. What about physical? I mean, do you do anything, like on your off season and stuff? When you're not racing, we end of the season, and we have almost 6 months or so until actually, we have to really start getting back into the, in the mix again. April is start of race season for us. Depending on weather and everything else. Some people are starting next week. At Yakima. I don't know if you're going to go there or not, but that's where some people are going to start. If not, it's going to start in April. What is your off season like? I mean, does Matthew Drager actually get to sit back and take a breath and go, now that you have Drager Performance and everything, and have these customers that you have to deal with? I mean, these are now people that are coming to you. Do you actually have free time, and what do you do on your free time on an off season?
The answer would be no. So I actually just finished. I think I finished body 8 or 9 for the year right now. So I've spend 6 to 7 days a week in the shop right now building bodies. Built late model body, several modifieds. Got a super sport that's going to be rolling next week. We're going to put a big bad wedge on the front of that thing.
That's awesome.
So really, my life is racing right now. I'm cool with that for the time being. I would like a little free time, but that balance will come as we figure out how we need to work.
And that's good, and taking your own personal time, for yourself is definitely a refresher, all the race and everything. What's your main goal for 2016? I know you have tons of goals, but what is your main focus that you want to focus on just for 2016?
It's time to get my first feature win. That is the goal. I don't care what else happens this year. I need to get that win.
Well, you've been so close, so many times just within the last season and a half, and I don't doubt that first win, Matthew, will come this summer. You and Joel, you guys are putting in the hours like you've talked about. You really, that's one thing people don't understand about Drager Performance is you guys are such a small family unit over there. It's you, your brother, your dad, and Joel building these race cars, and you're putting out good quality products. But the four of you, it's nonstop. It's work, hustle, and building these bodies and getting these clips put on. And you guys, the dedication is unrivaled to an extent with what you guys are doing with such a small company, and it's starting to pay off. You're starting to see the cars head down to California and people wearing the Drager Performance stickers down there. And I don't doubt that Bakersfield is something that's going to happen for you, and I think it'll be a good thing for drag performance. But the first win, not far away, the season opener, Willamette Speedway. Everybody knows you're going to be there for the Cabin Fever season opener. Say that 3 times fast. And I think we're going to see a high modified count throughout the season at Willamette because, it's the big fast track. It's wide, lots of rooms to race. As a driver, everybody's got their favorite place to go, whether it's the short track, the Bull Ring at Sunset, the big track up in Elma, Willamette, Medford. You personally, what's your favorite racetrack and what's your favorite style of racetrack?
I've got to say Elma, Grays Harbor Raceway up in Elma. That's probably my favorite track. Can't really tell you why. It just, from the time we unloaded there the first time, we've been pretty quick. It just fits our driving style. So I got to say that. Now, when it comes to style of track, I used to like the hammer down, hang on and go because that's the only way I was competitive. But the better we make the car and the more I learn about driving these things, the slick's where it's at. I got to say, it's a lot more fun.
I had a chance and stuff to talk to you, off record too and stuff too. And you talk about Joel being a big part of your race team. Talking about how much input and stuff and helping, when you can't be there, he's dedicated to this race team. He's dedicated, because he loves it. How much is Joel part of your race team, and what does it mean to you to have Joel on your team?
I would not be able to have my car here this weekend if not for Joel, honestly. Joel's my right-hand man when it comes to the car. With all the stuff I'm doing for the customer stuff, I honestly haven't touched my car. I built a body for it, and everything else you see done on that car was Joel. As the business continues to grow, my dad and my brothers and my mom, they're all focused more and more on the customers. We got people to support. So Joel's my crew chief. He works hard, and I couldn't do it without him. Now we just got to get him back to RaceWise with us next year so he can learn a little bit more about the setups.
Joel, I was talking to Joel offline, too, a little bit, down there by the car. Last night, actually, when I was going to put your car in gear without a transmission. That's another story for off the record, but yeah, that was quite awesome. But I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But Joel basically says that now because he is such a big part of your team that, pizza and Diet Coke isn't cutting it no more, that he actually wants like $1.75 raise per night plus entry fee. He might go down to $1.23, but it's still in the dollar range.
I'll double his wages. How about that?
Hey, well, there you go. I mean, he is drinking a Sprite or an Orange Crush, so I pretty much I doubled his wages right there. The sponsors that you have this year, talk about a little bit of who's on your car, who's been helping you out, who's riding with you on the 2016 season.
Yeah, so I've got a Dragger Performance, obviously, GRT race cars. MD Design is on the car. That's my body stuff. Then we've got Riverside Pet Crematory. They came on board for a second year. Hooligan Design, Hooligan Motorsports. If you check out all that vinyl, that's all them. They take care of that. The Thrive Nutritional Supplement by Lavelle. My friend's a promoter for that, so we've been on that for several months now and are liking that, so that's on board. AMCO of Corvallis and Newport. Stumbling J Livestock. That's about it. Oh, CarQuest of Albany. Advance now. Changed names. Advance, they've really helped me out in the last couple of years doing machine work, and with my brother working there, I got did a lot of business through them. But that's about it for right now.
Well, a big shout out to those sponsors. We know without sponsors, this racing thing is next to impossible. Just anything to ease the pain of the cost and keep some of that paycheck you work so hard for in your pockets. But, the modifieds, we've kind of talked a little bit about them. Let's talk about the biggest advancement because the GRTs are really putting out a good product. Let's talk about the biggest advancement in the modifieds right now. What's the trend on really what everybody's starting to focus on? I know shocks has been the big deal with late models, but with the modifieds, what's everybody really got their focus set on around to make these cars work as good as they do?
Right now, I think the biggest thing is the engines. So with the tire and rule package we have, the crate motors are really the way to go. And you've seen a shift in the past 3 years. 2 years ago, not many crate motors around. And the few that were, they were fast. They weren't winning every week, though. then last year you start seeing more guys, Colin, Jesse, all those guys are running them, and they're figuring out how to make them fast. So that's the biggest thing that my whole off season was geared toward, was affording to get a crate in the car and see if we can't, catch up with those guys that we were on their tail a couple years ago.
Well, down at Bakersfield, the Budweiser Nationals last season, that was a big argument down there amongst the drivers in the pit area. The crate versus the open motors. And open guys swear the crates they're garbage, not going to do it. The guys with the crate motors are running up front going, hey, how do you like that? We just hooked our engine up on that dry slick service and went and buy your open motor. I can see both sides. I mean, there's guys, you're going to have the diehard open guys that don't want to mess with the crate stuff. Then you got the guys that say, hey, look, I've got a $6,000 engine there with half the horsepower. I'm putting it on the ground, driving away from you. How can you argue with that? You just stated you got the crate motor in the car. What do you think is going to help you win races with the crates at the tracks that you're going to be at?
Well, most all the tracks here in the Northwest end up slick. I mean, how often do you see a hammer down track at feature time? So really, like I said, with the weight off the front of the car, the power and torque curves of those motors, I think it's going to catch us up with, at least in that aspect of the car, we're going to catch up with everybody else. And I think, with the support we get from GRT and the quality product, I don't think we're missing anything in the car. So if the driver's there, we're going to get it done.
kind of took my question away, because there are a lot of people out there that are dedicated to the open motor program, and then with the crate program and stuff, definitely coming on strong. 2016, you got more and more people definitely going to that crate program. Do you think that's actually do you think it's more of a driving style with a crate motor than with an open motor, or do you actually believe that the crate is actually doing something for your performance to go forward?
I think it has to do with the way the rules package is written. There's enough benefits to running the crate. The big thing is we run a really hard tire and a small tire. So the easier it is to hook that power up, the more driver friendly, the more advantage you're going to have. Now, if I had my way, we'd all have 600 horsepower motors and have to drive the car. I think it takes a little bit of the driving out. I mean, obviously you still have to pedal the car, but I'd like to see everybody way overpowered and then see what happens.
So, because now the Northwest and stuff definitely has changed to IMCA rules. Here a few years back we had USRA rules. We had a spoiler, we had all that type of stuff. What do you like better? Do you like the USRA, or are you more of a fan of the IMCA because that's what we have now?
That's kind of a two-sided question. I mean, at the time,
that's why I asked you. Yeah, it's a loaded question, but I have to ask you that.
I think I prefer the USRA, USMTS style stuff. I think they're faster cars, they're harder to drive, you got the power. That being said, now that we've made the switch, we're seeing car counts go back up. So you can't really argue with that. No one's going to spend $20,000 on a motor now because we're running crate motors for the most part, or claimer motors. So there's pluses and minuses to everything. Personally, I'd like to see the big, bad, fast stuff, but racing's racing, and if we put on a good show and they're fun to drive, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely. And with those crate motors, if you talk about the small tire that we run on the IMCA modified, so you run a 15-inch wheel, 8-inch wheelbase, you get out there and you do 5 or 6 laps on a brand new tire, and all of a sudden a caution comes out, and now you basically you coat that tire. Now it's starting to get hard. Do you feel that it takes more time for the tire, the stuff that we run, that G60 tire, to come in, and how long does it usually take for you to get that car back to where it was at the start of the race on the new tires?
If you're doing your job behind the wheel, it shouldn't take long. You watch the guys that are running up front, you watch them during cautions, they know how to keep their tires warm, they know how to keep them from sealing up, and those are the guys that go forward not just on the restarts, but the whole race. So it's pretty evident when you show up to the track and see guys doing different stuff under caution, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It is interesting because you see a lot of drivers do a lot of different things under the caution. The lines they drive, trying to cool the tires here down on the inside, or buzzing them even. It's interesting, but let's kind of go back to the family aspect. Your dad, a driver for many, many years. You've jumped in the cage carts, moved your way up to the modifieds. Does the old man ever hint around about jumping in the old 21 and taking it out?
We had him in the old car a couple times, and I think we'll try to get him in the new car this year, but he's got enough other stuff going on. I would love to see him in it, and I'm sure we'll get him hot lapping, but I wouldn't expect it on a regular basis.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see a 12A modified show up with O'Brien behind the wheel. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And